Welcome to Echoes from the Arena. This is episode 8. We are going to be just discussing the Buffalo Sabres, their formation, and their unfortunate current state of affairs, which is Dad, correct me if I'm wrong, 14 straight seasons without a playoff appearance.
You are right. And
I wish I was wrong.
furthermore, it's the most um it's the longest streak without a playoff appearance in the history of the National Hockey League. So
It's always a
that's kind of a
great
dubious distinction.
it's always a great record to have when you hold the record for impotence
Hmm.
in goal scoring, goal saving, etc.
Yeah.
So to start the discussion regarding the Sabres, my buddy Mark's going to join us a little bit later, but we wanted to start at least with the formation of the team, early ownership, and some of the early highlights of the team before we start the bitch fest going down that road. But we will reminisce a little bit about some times that were, I think, really great to be a Sabres fan.
Yes. And I think I think there were more seasons it was great to be a Sabres fan than what's
Although they're
currently.
catching up.
They are catching up. They are catching up. But a little history on the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres began playing in 1970. They were an expansion team, and they came in the same year as the Vancouver
Vancouver
Canucks.
Canucks. Yep.
The way they did it back in the day, a coin flip, a simple coin flip, gave the Sabres the first overall pick in that year's draft. The Sabres chose Joe Perreault, who was a cornerstone of our franchise.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Was that around the time did they finally break the rule that if the first overall pick was going to be French Canadian, that he'd have to go to Montreal?
That I don't know. That I don't know.
Because the Canadians used to get a pick. They used to get a higher pick or something, I thought.
Was that how it worked? Yeah.
Something like that. I don't know.
Well,
Continue.
something must have
Because
been
they always used
decided
to get
because
the best French Canadian
yeah,
players.
because pretty much every French Canadian played for Montreal at one point. But we'll discuss that team, and when I start naming names of who was on the Montreal Canadiens, you'll see that was very true.
Hmm.
But the ownership was Seymour and Northrop Knox, a very old guard family
Hmm.
in Buffalo. And like I said, the team began playing in 1970, and they were a typical expansion team. They struggled through the first two seasons. However, by season three, they played pretty well. They finished fourth that year in the Eastern Division, good enough to make the playoffs for the first time. The Seas are their matchup was with the number one seed, which was the Montreal Canadiens, the team we were just discussing. Montreal was coached by Scotty Bowman, and Montreal had such players as Ken Dryden in goal. Some of the defense, Guy Lapointe, Serge Savard, young
Um,
Larry Robinson.
I did find something on this French Canadian rule.
Yeah.
We should do a short on this, but essentially, the Canadians were granted a unique advantage during the draft where they could select two French Canadian players before other teams had their turn. And this
Oh, okay.
privilege was used sparingly, but it was used.
Oh, interesting. Okay, there you go.
That's feels kind of unfair, but
Yeah.
continue.
So and some of their centers and wingers would have been Honoré Richard,
The
Bob
brother
Gainey,
of
uh, brother of Maurice, the Rocket Richard.
mhm,
Jean Beliveau was still playing. Guy Lafleur, Steve Shutt.
the flower.
So yeah, so some very formidable players. So the Sabres uh,
We're
lost the
young.
first two games in Montreal. They came
Mhm.
to Buffalo down 0-2. Uh, I was in the arena that night, the old Odd, which we all know and love. I
Hmm.
was up in the Grays. The Grays were tucked under the upper
That
deck.
was in the clouds.
That was
Yeah.
in the clouds. That was below the Oranges, bud, but it was above the Reds. Oh, I'm sorry, above the Blues. So I was in the
Yeah.
arena. Game ended up in a regulation tie, and a member of the French Connection, Rennie Robert, scored the overtime winner. So first Sabre playoff victory in 1973.
Was that the first playoff game you went to?
That was the first playoff game I went to, yes. Um,
First playoff game I went to.
which was what?
The RJ Umberger hit.
Oh, that was a great hit. That was a great hit. That's still showing.
That
Uh,
was my first
whenever
playoff
they talk
game.
about physical hockey, that check is showing.
We will talk, maybe we'll talk about it a little bit
Yes,
later because it does dovetail nicely with some of my Sabres memories and I believe some of Mark's because Mark was with me and he may be able to reminisce a bit about
yes. Well,
the
we
condition
lost
that
it
I
the
was
year
in
before.
that day. I had a horrific flu, but they ended up losing that series.
Yeah, the Sabres won both games at
That's
home.
70.
They went back to Montreal, tied it 2-2. However,
Mhm.
Montreal won the next two games and won the series 4-2, and I believe went on to win the
Mhm.
cup that year. Um, so that was the beginning of the Buffalo Sabres. And after that season, they were fairly, as a matter of fact, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they were fairly consistent regarding getting into the playoffs.
Well, they made the cup 2 years later,
Yes, exactly. And
losing to the
brought in some
Flyers.
players, brought in a solid defense core with Sean Feld, who was there from the beginning, Jerry Korab, Bill Height, Jocelyn Gavremont. Tim Horton was there a little while, and then he tragically passed. We had, the three lines, Perot centering the first line, Jim Lawrence, the second line, Don Luce, the third line. Um, a year or two later, Danny Gare, uh, who happened to, once again, I was in the arena. I had season tickets by then up in the Oranges. Danny Gare's very first shift, he scored. So that
Same
was,
thing for Alex Mogilny
yeah, Nick too.
and
So
Rob Ray.
I didn't know about Rob Brett. That was
Rob
about,
Ray scored on his first shift.
was that his
As his only goal ever
one
scored.
of his first few goals that he ever scored in the NHL?
Yeah, it's like one of like a handful of
Well,
goals.
Rob had other attributes.
His ability to strip from the waist up.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know if I ever told you this, when I was supervising student teachers from a college, I had a teacher placed at an elementary school up in Sterling, Ontario. And as I entered Sterling, Ontario, it was a very large sign that says, the home of Buffalo Sabres, Rob Ray.
Rob Ray and his
Oh, he's from
very
Sterling,
large head.
Ontario. To be honest with you, I kind of forgot where Sterling, Ontario was. Somewhere in Ontario, but I'm not sure exactly where to place it.
So the Sabres enjoyed some success through the mid 70s into the late 70s and then early 80s. I want to say that didn't it 81 they had a really good team and they just for some reason couldn't get that team to the cup.
Yeah, they had some good years. They had some really good coaches,
It was a
some
team
good
Lindy Ruff
players
was
came
on
through.
actually.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Yeah. But I remember some of the some of the coaches that came through Buffalo, and we had again a fairly consistent. We were fairly consistent as far as making the playoffs,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's the 75 team that you mentioned a little bit earlier. Their only curse was they had to play the Philadelphia Flyers, who were a very good team, won multiple cups, had a lot of great Hall of Famers on that team. Bernie Perrott in goal.
Goons.
Bobby Clark was their captain. They were the
Well,
Broad Street Bullies.
they weren't playing hockey.
I know. And then uh, the now you want I want you to kind of reminisce about those teams in the early 2000s that We were talking earlier today,
Yeah,
we were talking about some of the teams, and one team which did not make it to the Cup final might have been our best team
yeah.
ever.
We'll discuss that after the break.
Okay.
But my formative year memories are of we talked quite a bit about it actually in the second episode when we talked about McGillney, where that's a big part of my childhood playing hockey. I remember playing at the odd that one intermission, which was ended up being a second intermission because somebody got put through the glass right in
Do you
front of
remember who
us.
put him through the glass?
Mike Ramsey.
Yeah.
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 I just
And
remember facing one direction and then just a bunch of glass spraying everywhere. But I was maybe 6 or 7
they
at
were
that
playing
time.
the Calgary Flames.
That's not, they're not here very often.
No, they're not. They're not.
And then, those brief high-powered teams with McGillney and LaFontaine. And then really when I more got into watching all the games, was really Hasek, seeing Hasek's
Right.
rise and his dominance over pretty much everyone in the NHL. And the only thing holding him back was really the team he was on. Whereas he was asked to steal games that no other goalies were asked to steal, and he'd go steal them.
And we just couldn't score goals.
Just couldn't score goals.
You know,
We had the one run in '99, the no goal
yeah. Yeah.
year, which to date is still the longest NHL game in my opinion because that game is still going on because
Hmm.
the entire season they never called that a goal, but that was a goal then for some reason.
And I remember that year when the season started, there was all this scuttlebutt about the fact that they were really going to address the crease issues. They
Which
really
they
were going to
did
call it
the
close.
entire year.
Yes, they did, exactly. Entire year
Almost
they called it.
annoyingly enough so, but then they did call it the entire year until the last goal.
Right. But isn't that the NHL? They usually find a way.
It's the NHL under Gary Bettman, I know that.
Yeah.
So, those teams with Miro Shatan, very limited scoring capability, um, but defensively were excellent, partially because the guy on the net stood on his head every night and had the ability to do it. Just an unbelievable ability to, his hand-eye coordination was second to none. His reflexes were second to none. His anticipation was second to none. Um, I want to say scoring was probably down at that time. It was after 94, but it wasn't,
Then around the time that the goaltender's equipment was large,
yeah, it was
they
starting to get
and the
ridiculous.
NHL
Guard Snow
reacted
was
to it.
getting ridiculous. Yeah, but it wasn't yet them starting to call obstruction. So I think scoring was down, but still. I mean, if we look at Hasek's save percentages back then, we've
Well,
talked about them, I think.
looking back, do you remember that? Okay, so there was the players' strike,
In 90,
and then when the Sabres did their diligence regarding some rule changes, one you just talked about, the obstruction rule,
right.
and the Sabres came back and they were ready to go, and they looked really good, and they took
Yeah.
advantage of the rules, and they were very
Yeah,
productive.
except they changed the rules back.
They
Like,
did,
or
and
they
I
just
do,
stopped calling this.
and they do tend to. Tend to revert back to old behaviors once the playoffs start.
Yeah.
There's less of those calls. So
Hmm. I'm just pulling up Dominic Hasek's career. I want to get a good look at his save percentage because the save percentage, I think, still to date is ridiculous. Do you have any other thoughts about those early Sabres teams, Dan?
just that it was, it was really again, it's we really need to get it back again because Buffalo is a phenomenal hockey town. And I know Detroit's gonna probably be pissed when I say that, they're called Hockey Town USA, but when the Sabres were the talk of the town, and there were times when the Bills were down, so the Sabres they were it. They were the hot ticket, and there was nothing better than going to those games. I remember, as I said, I'm a season ticket holder up in the Oranges. I loved going to those games. They were fun to watch. The team was exciting. Buffalo being a smaller city, the fans treated the Sabres like the fans are treating the Bills now. They're like our guys. They're like family.
Mhm.
And it was really just a golden age of hockey in Buffalo. Those years, from the foundation, from the beginnings of the team through the early '80s, and then so a little bit of a lull, but then it came back again with the acquisition of Danny Briere, Chris
For
Drury,
sure. Yeah.
and Michael Pekka. Things changed again, and they were the hot ticket again. But we need to get that back, and that's only going to be revived when the team figures it out. And hopefully,
Who knows when that will be, but maybe we'll have some
Mark
answers
can
for that
shed some
later.
light on what's going on with the Sabres.
I wouldn't count on it, but um, you want to guess how many seasons that Hasek had at least a save percentage in the teens, the nine teens? He played
I would say
for
like 8 years,
a
dozen years.
dozen years.
There you go.
Topped out in the 98-99 year. We had a 937 save percentage.
That's amazing. Amazing.
That's
No, he
incredibly
was one of a
high.
kind. He was
Year before that, he was at
you
932.
don't teach him you can't coach what he did. He was just so um difficult to figure out from a shooter standpoint. And I
Most
think he
guys,
got into the head of shooters too.
yeah, without a
I think
doubt.
shooters were thinking they had to have that perfect
Or
pass.
they would think I have to wait till he makes the first move and he doesn't
Hmm.
make the first move.
He doesn't. It was a Mexican standoff every time you were in front of the crease of the puck, and he was unorthodox. He'd be rolling around. He's the first one that came up with batting the puck out with the stick, dropping the stick. You
Grabbing
can't do
the
that
puck.
anymore, right?
Uh-uh. It's
That's
a
taken out of the
penalty.
rules.
Yeah.
Um, but he was just ahead of the curve. So it was a pleasure to watch.
He was so good. Um,
And again, I think if you look at, we can also discuss, if you look at the lineage of goalies the Sabres had from that our first year, which was who was the goalie? His name escaped. Well, Roger Crozier was our goalie back in the beginning.
no helmet.
No helmet. Roger Crozier. Well, and we moved on into guys that I would watch. Gary Bromley, Donnie Edwards. Um, there's another one in there that his name escapes me. But then through Tashik and Brian Miller, there was always a substantial goalie. Tom
Grant
Barrasso,
Grant Fuhr was in there.
Grant Fuhr was here for a bit. Uh,
Barrasso was good and
Terry
then got
Desjardins,
traded, and
that's the name I
then
was thinking about.
I'm thinking Barrasso was here, then won cups in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. But we always had that elite goaltender, which part of the problem I think we've had in the last number of seasons was
We
we
don't
don't
have that now.
have a goaltender. Sort of the same situation the Bills are in all those years without a quarterback. And now we got a quarterback and the world's changed. So we need that elite goalie.
Well, I think we hope that Devin Levi will turn into that, but hope is not a
That's the
plan.
plan. Yeah, that's the plan.
But hope is not a plan. So we need to have something other than that.
Mhm.
I'm curious as to what Mark's thoughts are going to be on the goaltending situation. Um, and in addition to that, I have a couple of questions for him that I want to ask. Just some rapid fire stuff when we get him on,
Yeah.
and curious about what his responses are going to be. But actually, let me ask you the same questions.
Okay.
I think you actually already answered this, and I didn't know that you were going to. I didn't know that even you were going to even say this. But when did you become a season ticket holder?
It would have been right after they played for even though I went to some of the Stanley Cup games in '75. I was not an official season ticket holder until the '77 season.
And until when?
Season ticket holder until they left the building, until they moved to the where they are
Oh,
now.
so they went to Crossroads Arena,
Crossroads
which is
Arena was the original name, yes.
now Key
So
Bank
the
Center.
intern, yeah, from '77 through the life of the
90,
odd, I was a season ticket holder.
is it 96?
Was it '96?
97?
It was the late '90s, yeah, and I loved going to the games. I mean, different seasons. You didn't go to attend to all the games. So early on in the '70s, I was pretty much there every game. So that's, what was it? 41 home games.
41 home games. If they played
I was
82
there
games,
pretty much two, three times a week. Just loved going down. Had my parking spot under the Skyway and really enjoyed the hockey. Enjoy those teams.
what was your first memory in that arena?
Probably the game we were talking about earlier, the playoff game, because it was their first
That's
playoff game at home.
73
So it was '73. Yeah.
overtime.
Overtime. Yeah. Rennie Robert. And then I don't know if you remember seeing well, you weren't here, but you might have heard about it or seen photos of it during the Stanley Cup final in '75. And I was at the game where we had the fog.
Yes, I'm
We
familiar
had
with it.
fog
The
because the
fog
building
game.
did not have a dehumidifier. And I also remember Jim Lawrence uh, taking a bat out of the air, was flying around down at ice level, and he took it away with the stick. So a lot of funky stuff going on.
Is Pete aware of that?
Pardon? Oh, I don't think so.
Mm.
But no, it was weird because you
That's
really could
strange.
not see the skaters'
Uh,
feet
I've
in the
seen footage
fog.
of it. It seems very odd because you don't know who has the puck. How are you supposed to save a
No,
shot that you don't even know
I don't know
if
what it was
someone's
down on the
coming?
ice at ice level,
It
but
looked bad.
from my perspective, I could not see their feet, and it
Right.
just rolled in like coming off the lake. It was a very humid day.
Weird.
This would have been I think in late May, and it was very humid, very warm, and the ventilation just couldn't handle or the AC just couldn't handle
S-
what
The
it had to
size
do.
of the arena
Yeah, the
or the
size.
humidity?
Yeah, yeah,
What's your that's your first memory. What's your best memory?
that's a good question. Okay, my best memory was not well, it was an exhibition game, but it was a game in the late '70s. Uh, Two teams from the Soviet Union toured and played NHL
Oh, I remember this.
cities.
I don't remember. Not
The
that I
Red
was there.
Army
Yeah.
and the Wings team, the Soviet Wings team. The Soviet Wings team played in Florida or Florida, what I'm talking about. The Soviet Wings team played in Buffalo, and Buffalo spanked them pretty good. I want to say 7-2 or 8-2. House is full crowd, and it was a blast. The other memory I would have is in the '70s we hosted an All-Star game, and
Hmm.
in those days it was just one night. Everybody the schedule was curtailed for uh, you know on one night. There was a day in between. Teams got together. Buffalo hosted the game. Had numerous Sabres in the team. I do remember Rick Martin scoring a goal that night. And you another day off, and then you play it again. So there
Heck
was
yeah.
no weekend, no skills competition. It was strictly a game, and the game was more feisty in those days. It's not like it is now. Well, now it's not even. It's the three on
Didn't
three
have
card.
it. It's
But
3-on-3.
I think the All-Star game now, when they were playing, it was simply it's simply let's not play defense, let's not hit anybody, which is fine. But back in the '70s, it got a little feisty. But those are my two distinctive memories.
How about your worst memory?
Probably losing to the Flyers in the Cup. Again, it went 4-2. Uh, but the Flyers just were a little bit better team, and they had at the time they had the goalie. They had Bernie Perrant, who was at the time probably the best goalie in the league.
I'm so,
I
I'm
got another memory. I got another memory I forgot about, and I
I was
got it.
gonna say,
And I got and I this was a memory. It was a weeknight game. It was a weeknight game.
hold on. I think we need a trigger warning for this though, right? Like actually, like it was a pretty horrific
Oh
thing.
no, it wasn't that. It
Oh, it
wasn't that.
wasn't
No, it
that?
wasn't that. Yeah, that one also is
Pretty
memorable
horrible
for another
memory.
reason. No, my night was
Gotcha.
mine was uh, Jim Schoenfeld, who we
Oh,
all know and love,
mhm.
and he was out on the he was on a shift. Wayne Cashman came down the boards of the Bruins with the puck. Shoney virtually put him through the boards, meaning the door where the Zamboni came out
Mhm.
must have been unlatched or he broke something when he hit him. They both tumbled into the hallway and were fighting behind the glass.
Possibly with sparks
Linesman could
flying
not get there right away.
if their skates were on.
So that was another memorable evening. And then yes, the Clipman. I was at the your mom and I were at the game where Clint Malarchuk got cut, and that was ugly.
Yeah.
That was ugly. So,
But to the credit of the training staff, he survived that and ended up playing later that year.
mhm.
What we're
Yep.
speaking of, for those that aren't familiar, was a skate cutting the neck of the Sabres goaltender in the jugular, uh, leading to a extremely bloody and dangerous scene in which, well, frankly, Clint Malarchuk almost bled out on the ice.
Yes. Yes, it cut the jugular, like you said. The good
But
news is it was at the
quick
end of the
move.
ice where the doctor was there, the Sabres team pushing because it was outside the locker room, that end of the ice.
Hmm.
They were able to get him somewhat stabilized, get him in the ambulance, get him to
ECMC, I would imagine.
ECMC, yes, and stop the flow of blood, which brought about changes in the equipment.
I
The
was wearing neck guards then when I started playing.
yep,
I don't know that when I started playing, I don't know that the neck guard was like part of it. It was, but it was kind of like it was very flimsy and didn't offer much protection, and they got more where like they would come down to here that
yeah,
like they would have that neck and then come
yeah, because they were
down.
they were just a little
Just a
band,
strap, but anything can
yeah.
easily come through and cut you right under that.
But and then another dubious distinction the Sabres had that happened again, and I think you
Yes.
remember
It's Richard
the second
Zednik.
time it happened against the Panthers.
Yeah. And I remember
Yeah,
the look on his face in the replay, knowing that he
yeah,
just got hit with the skate. And
yeah, yeah.
then I remember him in the press conference. Was it maybe a day later or maybe later that night, even? And he had the stitches on his neck. You could
Oh yeah,
see them.
yeah.
And it was just like right here. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, I'm surprised it doesn't happen more often.
I know, I know.
Guys get knocked off their
There were a
feet.
lot of great I love reminiscing about it. There was another night. And I know the nights because it was a Sunday night, and the Montreal Canadiens were in town, and One of our top D at the time was Larry Carriere, who got into a rumble with Pierre Bouchard, who was one of Montreal's tough guys, and they actually had a dinger of a fight right at center ice. And then other fights broke out, so it was kind of a semi-brawl.
Hmm.
It was just a lot of great old-time hockey stories in the old barn, as we used to call it,
Yep.
the old hod. Great
Oh,
old arena.
I wonder who still has
Great.
some of those seats. I know they're floating around.
Yeah, I don't know. I know what I do want to get, and it's unrelated to what we're talking about, but I do want to get seats. Hopefully, they're selling seats from
The Ralph.
the Ralph, because I would like to get a couple seats.
Yeah, I was
But
talking, we were talking earlier today and yesterday about concerts. And this is totally unrelated. I'm sorry to take us off the beaten path just for a moment, but um, we were thinking about concerts. And with the new stadium opening, I imagine we'll probably get some pretty big shows that we wouldn't normally have gotten.
sure we will. Yeah.
So that'll be nice because we were thinking like, well, we wanted to see Kendrick Lamar, but I didn't, how far am I willing to drive to see him? I figured, 4 hours. But hey, if we wait, you might see him in Toronto. That's 2 hours, or you might see him here.
Right. Might see him in Buffalo.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Might see him in
So,
Buffalo.
so I think this would be a good time for us to take a short break, and we'll come back with our guest when we return.
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. 1 second. All right, and we're back with Echoes from the Arena, episode 8, and my buddy Mark is joining us. Mark, you've been a season ticket holder up until, or are you still a season ticket holder of the Sabres?
It was up until 3 years ago. I called seeing if after the pandemic season, I called seeing if I could do like a 10 game package or 20 because 40 games was just getting way too expensive. And when I went to minimize, like,
For the
they're like,
product that they were offering.
yes, they were like, well, actually, but you're gonna lose some savings if you go down to like a 10 game or 20 game. And I'm like, okay, well, some savings, that's fine. So he rattled off what the cost for like 10 or 15 games was. I don't remember what it was, but it was basically like almost as much as what I would have been paying for a full season.
Wow.
And I just went, no, I'm good. And
Yeah.
the guy was like, all right, I can run your credit card. And I went, no, I'm just good. We're done here. I- I mean, I told my now wife of almost 6 years when we started dating, I couldn't wait to take her to a playoff game. We'll be together 10 years in August. So
And
yeah,
that opportunity has not presented itself.
yeah, it just became too much for the product that my buddy who sat behind me, who we'll refer to as the doctor, he leveled with me and he was like, not having season tickets doesn't make you any less of a fan. And he's right about that. Like I just it kept being like, it'll get better. It'll get better. And
Never did.
it
Isn't
has
that what?
not.
Does he still have those tickets?
No, he gave his up first and then he would buy like 10 games from me and like five of them were sitting with me because, you don't want to get rid of that Statler and Waldorf magic that we had up in 305.
Mhm.
Um, but it like he said, like you're pouring money into a product that is just not producing, and it's really disappointing. Like I can remember talking to you the day they bought the team, the starting today, the Sabres sole purpose for existence is winning a Stanley Cup. And I
Uh,
remember getting a text from you being like, I just got misty. And I'm like, I'm choked up at my computer listening to this. Like, we are eons away from that now. Like,
my God.
just ridiculous. But at the same time, having my season tickets, I don't think back to the product now. I think about like the hilarious ridiculous times we had. Like the doctor and I did not know each other when we got our seats. He got his seats a week after mine, and I remember being mad that he was in the back row and I wasn't. And then also going to the arena now, why was I in the back row? That's just
That
like
was,
going up those
I
stairs.
don't know whose
Not,
idea that was.
yeah, not great. But it was the only seats you could get at that point.
Yeah,
But I mean, I know we neither of us have our seats, but I stood up in his wedding and he was the co-best man in mine. So like that part, like I always say the investment was worth it because of the friendships and memories we have.
mm,
But there's been no memories since like he bought the team.
not really.
So
Well, we were
Overpaying
talking.
for Ehrhoff.
oh man, did we do you know if you go to his website, it just says exceptional human?
All right, I'll accept it. When did you originally become a season ticket holder?
I became a season ticket holder, so back when the games were actually affordable in 0506, I think you, me, Jeff, uh, probably Joshy, and a few others, like we ended up going to
A lot
because
of games.
they had like a value, a bronze, a silver, and a gold package
Yep.
for games. So like if it was like a Tuesday night against Phoenix, you
You'd
could
get
get a
those
decent
for like $20.
yeah for like $20. So we ended up going to quite a few games. And then because we'd been to some, my dad convinced me to get a mini pack halfway through the season. And because I had a mini pack, is that bug on my screen or yeah, it was weird. Um,
You're outside.
but yeah, I know elements. Because I had the mini pack, I got playoff access. So then we ended up going to a bunch of playoff games. And my dad called me before the third round because I was trying to get tickets to the Carolina round. And he's like, why don't you just get season tickets? They're giving you the season ticket cost for the playoffs or you were getting like the season ticket cost if you signed up for you got the playoff tickets at the season ticket cost if you signed up for seasons. And I remember I was like, they told me that was only for the first two rounds. And my dad was like, well, you're really enjoying it. Go for it. Like my dad basically financed or helped me finance like the payment. And then we all had to pay him back. And I can remember being on hold for like an hour listening to What's Left of Me by Nick Lachey. Like I can hear the song playing repeatedly in my head, followed by RJ highlights. Um, so yeah, I mean, but yeah, then like 06, 07, obviously a fun year, but not as fun because they had too much. I would say there was too much hype around the team. Um, I mean, the uniforms were awesome, but you know, um, and then from there, like, yeah, had a few down years. They had a few playoff years, but it just eventually, like I said, became too much. But I probably, with the money I spent in that arena, could have my student loans paid off by now.
Oh, that's
So
nice to know that you're still
yeah,
paying at a higher
yeah,
interest rate than you would have to.
yeah,
In your
probably.
time as a season ticket holder, what's your best memory in the arena?
Um,
I know there's a lot of answers here that
I
you could
mean,
go to.
pre-season ticket holder,
Well, yeah,
05,
we'll say mini pack and on. What was
so like
your
05, 0506, like we were at that Philly game where Umberger gets blown up. You
do
had the
you
flu.
I had this I was so I couldn't I would say I couldn't have been sicker, but I've only been sicker one other time in my
Yes.
life. And I
Um,
was shaking.
yes. And I remember turning to say something to Amy, who was sitting next to me,
Uh-huh.
and that's when Danny potted the goal. So like I can't guarantee I actually saw that goal, but I like did, but like I know I did, but I remember like the arm going up for the penalty and being like, "Oh, there's a penalty being called here," and then like
Uh-huh.
the eruption. Um, so I definitely, I now that I think about it, I saw Danny's goal. It was the Umberger hit that I don't remember because we were almost in the corner, and I remember like everyone erupting and be like, "What happened?" Like,
I remember seeing it develop.
yeah,
And I know this because
I was probably talking.
you were probably talking because that's the thing you're good at. Uh, the left wing wiped out. Their
Hmm.
left wing wiped out breaking out of the zone. So Campbell didn't have to worry about another forward further up ice, I think.
Right, right.
And he had the
Hmm.
opportunity to step up there. And I feel like you could hear the air leave his lungs
Yeah,
at that point. And then it turned into all of a sudden it looked like a Donnybrook was going to break out.
yes, because in today's NHL, if anyone gets hit, we have to
We
fight.
have to fight. We
Yes.
have to fight. We have to
We have
respect
to
our honor,
we have to
defend our
defend their
honor.
honor. So that's like obviously a
Because,
great
RJ
memory.
Umberger collapsed into a fainting couch after that.
Yes.
He had the
Um, you know,
vapors.
It's funny
his
because two of the just to add some history to this whole thing, two of the probably most vicious physical hits in sport happened in Buffalo. It was the Umberger hit, and Marky, I don't know if your dad told you about this. Your dad might remember it, but
the Hank Stratton hit.
64 championship game, AFL.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, Mike Stratton. Yeah.
Mike
Mike
Stratton.
Stratton basically cutting Keith Lincoln in half.
My dad was at that game.
Yeah, so was I. So was I. And
So yeah,
I remember what Matt just said. The air, you could hear the air go out of him. I thought he was
the
dead. And I was only 11
yeah,
years old. So
it wasn't like he was down a long time. The Umberger one for us. I remember we were all sitting there after they broke him up, and he was still on the ice. And I just remember you leaning over the two people between us, and we were like, he might be dead.
He might be
Like
dead.
he's not moving. But like my ironically, like favorite memory of that season has nothing to do with hockey. We're in the arena. It was versus Dallas. It was me, you, and Jeff. 20. I think the tickets were $18 because of the value game.
Well, that's
And
good because I wasn't making very much money at that
yeah,
time.
either was I with the $8 an hour I was making at a certain NFL franchise that shall remain nameless. But
They wouldn't
I
happen to have a logo over your left shoulder.
it's possible. But so and yours. But you and we're sitting there and this guy orders three three or four beers and the 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 concession guy goes, all right, that'll be 15.50, which for three beers in the arena for 15.50 now is incredible.
At that
But
time was not
yeah, at that
incredible.
time you just he goes, so that'll be 15.50. And out of nowhere, someone else in the section just goes, that is very fair. And you and I to this day will still, anytime we get a bill when we go for a drink and they tell us what the cost is, we'll be like, that is very fair.
Even if it's too high, that is very
Yeah.
fair.
But other favorite memory being a season ticket holder, the game game 5 versus the Rangers in 06-07 with
Oh, the
Drury,
Drury goal.
because I mean the goal itself, and I remember like we had the sign that said Maxi Nation because he scored the goal. There was like girls like getting up on it in the like hallway after we won, and then like we had a rivalry with a Winnaganoff going down the escalator yelling at each other. But what I remember most
What
about
were you
that
guys like?
goal,
Fuck you, and he's like,
yeah,
fuck
our
you.
side's better. But what I remember most about that goal is 7.7 left, smash mouth playing, like feeling it felt like when the Bills lost Super Bowl, like what I remember it feeling like. And this woman is leaving the stair, going down the stairs, like she looks pissed, and the doctor just goes, where are you going? Nothing's over. And she goes, mind your own goddamn business. Drury scored. She started, well, it was 16.9 left, but when Drury scored, she starts coming back up the stairs. And keep in mind, the man is wearing like a winter hat that's shaped like a helmet, like a Sabres helmet.
Right.
Uh-huh.
He's like, we're both like, no. And I killed him face paint at this game because I thought, what does that look like Braveheart? It's the only game we ever won when I wore the kilt, too.
No.
But he's like, He's like, no, we are just yelling at her to go back down the stairs. Like, you're not allowed. You gave up. But like stuff like that is what I remember from like I miss that feeling of like walking into the arena, there being a buzz, there being excitement in the arena. Like just
I haven't
there
felt that in so long.
Yeah,
It's
Matt asked me
no.
before you came on about, my experiences in the arena in the odd, when
Hmm.
season ticket holder in the 70s. And he asked me about, I forget the question. Matt, you asked me, Matt, the exact question, but about what it was like being around the team at that time. And I couldn't come up with the best answer, but you hit it on the head. There's a buzz. There was a buzz in the city in the
Hmm.
70s, after that cup, after our cup appearance against the Flyers in 75, and that whole team, that whole era, and that same buzz was evident, obviously, in the 90s there,
I feel
or
like
in the
that
2000s. I'm sorry.
I feel like
But it
that
was just, yeah,
that buzz, it's like when in the arena now, it's like when you walk in the door. It's just like an energy.
yeah, yeah.
And that
Uh,
energy ain't there
I
right
don't,
now.
I haven't been to a game since
I went last year, I
for a
think. I
long time.
think we won. I have no idea.
I
All
went
right.
to a couple last year and like I still had fun. They won both games. They're still
Yeah.
fun to go to. And there's like hints of a good team there, but like you're like,
I tell
guys, what
you
are we
what,
doing?
I tell you what really irritates me, and I forget his
What
name,
grinds your gears?
but Matt will remind me of his name. Uh,
Mhm.
Living here in the Tampa area, I do go to quite a few Lightning games and watch a franchise that is well run. And who's the player, Matt, who the Sabres had and let him go?
Oh, Brendan Hagel.
And Hagel is one of the cornerstones of the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Angle was one of our draft picks, right?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. And
Yeah,
they,
Max,
we let him go for nothing.
guess they
we
felt he just wasn't going to cut it.
We didn't think he was
we
going to cut it.
we probably signed Zach. We probably were too busy trying to sign Zagrapan, and the fax
Yeah, I was gonna.
machine got clogged again.
I was gonna say Zagerpan because that's what you.
I mean, that's what kind of buzz was in the city after 06, 07. I remember Zagerpan getting drafted in our fantasy hockey draft by somebody's brother who shall remain unnamed. And you and I went,
I thought it was a little
okay.
early to be putting those two
Yeah,
words together.
yeah. We were
uh,
like, all right, I guess.
what's your worst memory from your season ticket time?
Um, I would
It's gonna have
say,
to be pretty bad to beat Dad's.
I mean, well, I was at the Zednik game. That really ended, that ended a first date pretty quick. Um, yeah, so that was awkward. But as far as like hockey goes, I remember being at a game the year after Pagula bought the team. It was Easter Sunday. It was against the Bruins, and they really needed the game to like stay in contention. At least I think it was the year after. But either way, just the negativity and anger that you could it was palpable in the arena, and it wasn't fun to be there anymore. It was like I always say, and people will get mad at me for this, but I always say as much fun as 0506 was, it made everybody and their mother a hockey expert in this town. So like you would have, and not that I'm one either, but like just
No, but
everybody.
your opinion and Steve's opinion aren't the same because Steve's an idiot.
It's true. Love you,
Love
Steven.
you, Steve.
No, but the just the negativity that brewed from like
The
people who didn't
expectations.
the expectation of how good those teams were, and then the slide. Like if you've been a hockey fan since you were five, like you and I, you have years that you're awesome and you have years that you're bad, or you just have 14 straight years of being bad. But with this, people
There's
just
no
thought
middle ground.
there really isn't weirdly with
Not for
Buffalo,
us.
but people thought that they were just going to be good forever. And then I mean, I guess July 1st, 2007 is a pretty sad memory too, but that also, I was at a Tragically Hip concert, so it's not that bad.
Yeah, I
That's
have
a
to
night.
say that was a dark day in my. I remember where I was reading all that fucking news.
I remember losing Danny at like 2 in the afternoon and being like, okay, well, we lost Danny. We'll sign Drury, which, I'm the biggest Chris Drury fan in the world. Even I will admit now, we backed up on the wrong horse there. If they had signed Danny and had
Danny
him,
should have kept
had,
Danny.
if they had him between Vanek and Pominville, it would have been like ridiculous for like 5 years. But, you know, Larry, Larry's
Well, he
gonna
signed
Larry.
a 7 or 8 year deal,
Yeah.
and he was still, I would say, a very effective player for at least 5 of those seasons,
Yeah. And
and
even
had
like, I mean,
one really great playoff run.
yeah, that that
That
if that
he
that
made
loss to the
Ville Lano
Blackhawks,
so good.
yeah, he
Well,
did, and we
there's a name
we
for
We're
the
like, oh,
past.
let's
we
grab
fell
that.
for let's pay for that.
Hell yeah!
And then he scored his first game, and we were like, best investment
I'm like,
ever.
I'm like, yes, 82 year goal season.
But like, that's the I was at the concert too, and I might have had a few sodas. I remember running into George Babcock.
Couple of Wiggly Pops. Oh,
Yeah,
Babdick.
no, not actually, not George Babcock. What is it George, the equipment manager? He's got like I
Oh,
can't think of George's last name. He's got
can't think of
glasses and
his name.
spiky hair. But like we know like we don't know each other, but we know each other enough to like chat. And I remember running into him and he's like, "Yeah, sorry, buddy." And I'm like, "It's okay. Like we'll be fine. We're gonna sign Drury." And then we didn't. And then for some reason I have Darcy Regeer's phone number and I texted him, "It's okay, Darcy. I still believe in you." And he replied, "Thank you." So, I mean, he never called the cops on us for all the times we called him. I think
Well,
it's still in my phone too.
I got a question for you, Mark.
Yeah.
Just I was thinking while you were talking here
Yeah,
about
Dan
the
thinks
buzz,
that you have all the answers.
the
So,
buzz in the building. You guys are talking about the buzz in the building, the lack of the buzz after Pagula won uh, bought the team. What is the arena like? And I'm not, I know you're no longer a season ticket holder, but you've been to games a lot more recently than I have. But what's the building like when the Leafs are in town? Since half the arena, it sounds like, are Leafs fans.
Honestly, I mean, it is very full of Leafs fans, and it's the same thing for any other Canadian team. They just make a bigger. The thing with the Toronto fans is, I remember one time as some Toronto fans were, this is a good memory too, Matt. We started singing. This was the year after we lost Drury. The Doctor had written the lyrics to "Hello" by Lionel Richie to be about Chris Drury. So as we were losing to the Leafs, we started singing it after a few wobbly pops. And some Leafs fan, like 6 rows down, just burst up and was like, "Hello." And he was like, "Oh man,
we are looking
he
for.
was like, you guys are Sabres fans?" And I was like, "Yes, Polino brought us together." Um, it's hard when you go. People say it's embarrassing. It is to a point, but like a lot of the Leafs fans I talk to people from Toronto, the people who are at those games, it's
Yeah,
because the cost in Toronto, they price everybody out so bad that those are people from like the suburbs who are just
yeah,
happy to.
Be
I
able to
mean,
go
it's
to a game.
it's really bad that our arena is full of them, but at the same time, I get it. Like
Yeah.
it's expensive to go to a game. Like if you have the chance to come down here and you're an hour away. But yeah,
right,
it's like
right.
you're at an away game. It's
Okay.
not it's fun when they start losing. Like if the Sabres actually I was actually at a Leafs Sabres game the day after Black Friday a couple years ago,
Right. Yeah.
and we were down 2-1, and we were down 2-0, and I was in like the lower bowl, which felt very weird. And this Leafs fan with his polo shirt on, popped collar underneath his Leafs jersey. He might have been Caleb, I don't know.
Might have been Caleb.
Yeah, but he's like after the second goal, he's like, "Oh, that's how you do it. That is what a goal scorer's goal is." So the Sabres came back, And so every time we'd score, we'd be like, "That's how you do it."
That's how
Just
you do
so when they lost, the exit, like I think we ended up winning 4-2. So they hit the empty netter to make it
Right.
4-2, and the exodus started. And I'm giving a couple waves and bye bye, enjoy your ride
it.
back.
Enjoy your
And
two-hour ride.
an old lady plants her feet like she's about to do like about to squat like 300 pounds, and just boom, double barrels me. And my buddy goes, "He's disabled." Like, he just goes, "That was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life." So the rivalry is still there, but
Right.
I don't know if you guys agree with this. I've never seen Toronto as a rivalry. I just haven't. Like, I know it's because of the proximity, but like
Yeah.
when I think rivalry, I think Boston, I think Philly.
Yeah. No,
Like those
I've never
are
really, yeah, I've never seen it. I don't, yeah, I don't see it as a
Problem is
rivalry either.
we both haven't been good at the same time.
Yeah.
no, we've only in my memory, we've only played each other in the playoffs the one time.
At one time, and we smoked
When
them.
our
We beat them
when
pretty good.
our when our now GM got the bejesus beat out of him by Eric Rasmussen in the net.
Oh yeah, then we had to see his sister the next day at school and be
Yeah,
like,
and we
"Sorry that your brother got his ass kicked on national
well,
television."
I remember well after they beat us in game two, I think she came in talking big, so I
Like
don't think
high
I
on her
felt
horse, so
I
we
don't
had
think
to
I
knock
felt
her
this
down a
bad.
few.
Yeah, we were like, "Hey, remember your brother was in the net getting the crap beat out of him?" That's a Sabres first round pick that didn't pan out really.
No, no.
That's on a list of them.
Yeah.
I want to shift us before we take all of our time up. I want to shift us to the current state of the Sabres, which
Hmm.
I would say is not stellar.
It's not good.
It's not good. Um, it's funny. I wrote I wrote in my show notes what the questions that I was going to ask. So I'm like, okay, when did you become a season ticket holder? Until when? Your first Sabres memory, your best memory, your worst memory. What the fuck are they doing? And then I went down two lines, but no, really? What are they doing? So let's assume that the people that are listening to this have an idea of what's going on with the Sabres. And Mark, why don't you give us your just a quick synopsis of what you think's going on over at
I honestly, at this point, Matt, can you guys still hear me? Because it looked like
Yep.
I
I
froze.
yeah, yep, I can hear
Okay.
you. We can hear you.
I really don't know because it's gotten to the point where I religiously like I didn't miss a game. I'd watch every single game.
Uh-huh.
To I haven't watched the game. I haven't watched a full game unless I'm at a game. Like because I'll turn it on and be like, "Oh, they're doing pretty good," and then they'll give up 4 goals.
Every time
Um,
I turn it on, I see shit.
I there's some good pieces there, but I just don't understand. Um, you know what? I don't know what Kevin Adams has on that organization or who he's wooed, if you will. Um, with
Uh-huh.
sweet nothings and a nice mix CD, but like he, I will give him this. He not all of his trades have been terrible. Like I don't hate all his trading moves. His signings are where I'm like, but that's how Darcy was too. Darcy, I thought would do, but Darcy was handcuffed. Well, I guess Adams is somewhat handcuffed now too. But same time, like I wanted to throw the boat at Mitch Marner. I didn't care. I'm like, make the splash, but I
Yeah,
knew it
yeah,
wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
On top of it, people don't want to come here anymore. Like, not that they ever did, but like they got to extend Tuck. If you don't extend Tuck, that's going to give the organization another really bad look.
A
And
guy that wants to be here and yeah.
yeah,
I think you
I
have to do it for optics.
yeah, I
I mean,
personally think
he's an effective player, but I think for optics purposes, you got to do it.
I mean, the other, I don't know. It's tough because like when they traded Paterka, I was fine with it and I liked the defenseman they got, but that's no guarantee. The optics of it are, oh, you gave up on another young goal scorer, and but in reality, he didn't want to be here. Like there isn't. a vibe of like it's gone from wow, look at all this cool stuff we're doing, building the Harbor Center, having the combine here,
Mhm.
have we had the draft here at one point. I literally had to sit through the whole round because we brought Steve's brother who wouldn't let us leave. Um, we were like, Chris, our pick was like 10 ago. Can we go? And he's like, no, we gotta stay. Um, but like that was a cool feeling. Like at that point, the year after we got, Curly had to fuck Jack Eichel, excuse my language, but he still had a vibe that we were gonna turn it around. And it's just um there's this is a weird analogy, but have you seen the movie Jarhead?
I have, yes.
At the very end of it, he says we're still lost in the desert. And that's kind of how it feels. Like
A good comparison, yeah.
you've lost like for
You and
instance,
I
the
used to watch games religiously. We used to watch games
yes.
together, and now I don't watch games.
Yes, I don't watch like I'll keep tabs, obviously. I still
I
play
was keeping
fantasy.
tabs up until the 14 game losing streak. Then I decided I
Yeah.
don't know, I'll just use the bathroom or something.
Yeah, like it's all right. But like I remember like making it a point where we would all go to one or other's houses to watch away games. Like that
Right.
doesn't, I mean, I know we're older now and we're like,
Yeah, but if they were
adults,
really
but
good, I like to think that that would happen a couple times a year.
oh yeah, definitely, and then but it just doesn't now. And it's sad that you had a fandom that would have, I mean, look at you had a season ticket holder waiting list of 12,000 people.
Yeah.
And that is two-thirds of the arena, and it's gone now. And like,
Your
you
amount of
know,
your season ticket holder base is probably at 2/3 of
oh, it's
that.
it's dwindled horribly. They call me every year, and I'm like, yeah, guys, still no,
Yeah, yeah.
I got
Call me
things
when
to
you
do.
get good.
Well, one time Michael Pekka called me during the pandemic. They had alumni calling me, and my
Ah,
my neighbor upstairs, who Matt, we're actually friends now. But
oh.
he had fallen outside, so the meat wagon was coming to pick him up, and I'm like,
Ooh.
his knee had but he had just had knee surgery. It busted open. My phone rings, and I'm like, I saw 716. So I'm like, hello, and he's like, hey, Mark, it's Michael Pekka, just checking in on you. How you doing? I'm like, Michael Pekka, I don't have time for this right now. I gotta go. Sorry, I'm holding out for a better call, Michael. But like it's sad because it was such, like it's weird. I guess when we were kids, like the Bills and the Sabres were, I know the Sabres were perennial first round losers, but they're also a perennial playoff team. Like
Yeah, we,
the
yeah, we
Bills
talked
and
about that, yeah.
the Bills and Sabres were good at the same time, and we haven't seen that in 30 years. So like it's tough. And like I can remember when I worked for the Bills getting phone calls of people being like, "When are you going to be good like the Sabres?" And I'm like, "Well, it's two different sports, but
So the
um
answer is I don't know. Sir,
we're
please stop
we're
yelling and finish your burrito.
I can't send you more game day programs. I'm sorry, Mr. Matuziak. But
Another
but
another
it's
question for you.
just yeah.
Another question for you, Mark. That Matt and I were talking earlier, and we're not sure the answer. Uh, do you know what the actual job description of Eric Stahl is and why he was brought in?
Um I want to say it's assistant GM or like assistant to the regional manager. I don't really know.
Yeah,
Um,
we
I
didn't know
mean,
Well,
either.
that's what we're talking about. We don't really know
apparently,
what's going
yeah.
on.
Maybe
Up
he needs the health insurance.
the vibe, it could be. I heard
It's for
that's
the
not very good
benefits.
though.
No.
The vibe I get from it is they brought him in, um, because he's still not removed far enough where he still knows players in the league. He still
Okay.
knows like different, he's still got his where uh Kevin very much is Principal Skinner being like, am I so out of touch? No,
Right.
it's the children's fault. So I think that's why he was brought in, and obviously, I mean, I guess it's good PR, but I even saw today that I don't know how reliable Die by the Blade is, but somebody said that Shanahan called offering to be the president of hockey ops and was told
Okay.
no.
Okay.
But I really don't know if that would
Eh,
be beneficial. He wasn't very good at it in
No,
Toronto.
he wasn't.
no,
So,
it wasn't.
I mean, yes,
It seems
great
like
head of
every
hair, but
it seems like every successful NHL franchise does have a president of hockey ops. So, I know
I
they've been talking about it regarding the Sabres, but nothing's been done. I know the LaFontaine incident, which was weird.
oh, that was so weird. And then they had
I don't know what's going on over there. I really don't. It's
Eh,
I mean,
very
with the LaFontaine incident on top of it, they had that. I don't know if you remember when they used to do that. Like, I don't even remember what it was called, but it was like music night where they had players like doing music at the
okay.
arena.
Yeah.
Like
eh.
They had Billy Leno playing bass on a cover of Iris by the Goo Goo Dolls, man. And I was like, but they also had the guy who from Survivor who wrote "Eye of the Tiger" and sang
Oh.
it acoustically, and I was like, this is awesome. But it was the night of like the whole LaFontaine thing. So there was no like, hey, this is fun. We were all like, what is happening right now?
That was really, really weird.
That was
Yeah.
weird. It was weird.
I mean,
I don't,
I
we don't need to talk about
yeah, I don't think we need to get into
we
the
don't need to get into
rumors.
that.
Hey, do you want to go to prom? But yeah.
I let me jump into what the current lines might look like. And have you had dinner?
Yes, but I'll be
Okay.
okay.
Okay. Uh we'd have well,
But no, you're still there.
you could have you could have Kulik centering Thompson and Benson.
I don't love that.
I don't love Benson as your first line
No, I don't
winger.
think he belongs in the first line.
And cool,
I
let's put
like
it
I
that
like Benny a lot, but I don't
I don't
think
like
he's
him
ready for
there.
that spot yet.
And I think that's a lot of stress to put on Kulik as a I haven't played a full NHL season yet, but I'm gonna plug in as your top line center. It's kind
It's
of
like
weird.
when we put Luke Adams as our top line center with Panic and Pominville that
But
one
that
season.
did work for a little while.
Yeah. And then he got pouty when they moved him out the first line and he never saw the NHL again.
Yeah, pretty much. Uh Norris centering Tuck and Zucker. I don't hate that, but as soon as Norris gets hurt, then what?
See, I thought Norris would be with Thompson.
Yeah, I did too. I was just kind of playing with some combinations here. But regardless, I don't like the idea that my most reliable center is down on my third line, McLeod,
No.
because Norris is injury prone and Kulik needs to prove that he can do it at the NHL level for a full season.
Yeah, but you at the same time you do want McLeod in that or third spot probably because he still can be
Oh,
your best defensive player against their top line there.
I agree with that. I just think it's concerning that that's the first center in your organization that is reliable in the spot that they're in.
Yeah. Have we
So he,
given up on Krebs yet?
while I have him
We got him on
centering
the
the
fourth
fourth
line, right?
line, with possible. Well, let me go back to the third line. I had McLeod centering Greenway and Quinn.
Mhm.
I mean, that is a place where if Quinn is able to regain his form, you could have an advantage against another team's third line, especially on the speed.
Yeah,
McLeod
I
and
mean,
Quinn
it,
both very quick.
mhm. Quinn, I was ready to move on from him. I was surprised they re-signed him. Krebs, I secretly still like just because something about someone who's smiling and laughing as they're getting punched in the face. I was really on
Yeah,
board with that
I
attitude. I was like, okay, you're a bit of a psychopath. I like this.
It just tells me that you care, and I
Yeah.
don't see a lot of that sometimes. So I had him between what Winston and maybe Doan's kid.
I I think that Doan pickup is gonna be the surprise, like, okay, this was a really nice like
Sweetener.
throw in, yeah. Because
What was his background? Was he national development team?
I think
Yeah,
so. And apparently he forechecks like nobody we have. So I
well,
mean that doesn't
it
take much.
doesn't
I
say a
forecheck
lot.
better, but
Yeah,
he's supposed to be real feisty, like great forechecker, great defensive players. Like honestly sounds a lot like his dad. Plus we can make, don't zone jokes, so I like
that's right.
that.
And then as far as the defensive pairings, I don't hate them. Darlene Byram, Power, Kesselrig. I'm not thrilled with the third line as possibly Samuelson, maybe Ryan Johnson. I know they have another journeyman in there somewhere.
I
Uh,
like that. I want one more. I wanted one more defenseman, and
well, you got one,
well, I think
sounds
like
like.
I think they're gonna trade Bobo Cop, but
If they
I
trade him, they need goal scoring.
Who's the guy
well,
we picked? Who's the guy we picked up from Pittsburgh?
I
Some
That
guy, just
defenseman.
some guy.
Okay.
I mean he's
He's a
still
guy.
probably better than Connor Clifton, but again, we can't. It takes away the fun of making Tony Clifton jokes, which
Didn't
we'll
Clifton
go
get
over.
traded?
Yeah, he was part of the Pittsburgh trade, but the doctor and I just kept making Andy Kaufman, Tony Clifton jokes every time he was on the ice. So, there's drawbacks.
And then
But
goaltending wise,
I'm nervous.
you
I've
got
never been a UPL guy.
UPL, Alex Lyons, and Devin Levi. As two of them will get the two spots here.
Yeah.
UPL was what really good 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, and then he like,
Wasn't as good.
the problem was 2 years ago they couldn't score. Last year they could score at will. 2 years they couldn't score, but they had good goaltending, good defense. Last year they could score, had no goaltending, no defense. Like, but it's the same thing with the last Donnie Meatballs year. They could score like crazy. They just
Hmm
couldn't stop anything. Like, I don't know. It's just a little
which
frustrating.
it leads me to they are lost in the desert.
Yeah, it's just what I think of. Like when you're in the arena now, like I remember going to the arena on a Tuesday night, it'd be a full house. You can go anywhere in that arena you want right now. There's 5,000 people there at best. They'll say it's 10,000, but it's
But
not. There's
no,
no way.
I know 10,000 when I see 10,000. I
Yeah.
know 5,000 when I see 5,000.
Yeah.
And I know that, they would say it's a full house and you can see a whole section that's not sold.
Well, that was a hilarious moment when they got bad, when the season ticket holders were still very high because we all kept being like, they'll figure it out. They would announce it as a sellout every game, and you'd be like, but it's
There's a
not.
lot, but it's
No,
not.
nobody's here.
Yeah, I think what the NHL does, the same thing in Major League Baseball. I think they do. It goes by distributed tickets, not turnstile,
Yeah. Hmm.
right? Like no, the NFL is
Yeah.
turnstile, I believe.
On
And
top of it, like the other thing, it's not just the team. The arena, they've now been in that arena longer than they were in the odd. And it's not the upkeep of it isn't good. The food offerings aren't the best. And it's when I got my tickets for one of the big beers, it
right,
was 7.50. Now it's $16. Like I know it's 20 years later, but and inflation and all that, but like
Yeah, I'm not paying
it's
16 bucks
so
for
Mark, what do
half a
you
foot
see
more.
going down the road now? Now that you brought up the arena, now the arena, is the rental agreement up after this coming season?
yeah, but I don't
I
understand
hear the
how that's
county's
gonna
turning it back over to the city. Is that true?
something like that. I don't know. Mark Poloncarz is like, we don't want to do it. I think they got burned in the new stadium deal for the Bills, and they're like, yeah, we don't want to do this again.
Well,
But
what
like,
you're saying is they need upgrades.
yeah,
They need badly, right?
they like it's still the bones of it are still a good arena, but like
It needs paint. It needs a refresh. It
they
needs,
should rip out every single seat and do during the 50th anniversary season, they had odd night and
they
they
just make
did
it an odd.
but they had odd night and they put colored t-shirts. Like the entire upper deck was orange, the middle level was
It looked
red. Then
awesome.
like it was so cool, and I was like, we should do this. We should like. There's nothing. That arena was built at a time when everybody has that arena. Like if you go to Washington, D.C. and go to a game there, it's our arena. If you go to
Yeah,
Tampa, it's our arena. But the
yeah,
difference
exactly.
is they put money in those arenas. But also the difference is those teams have been winning. Like it's
And the game day experience is probably just better in general.
yeah, I mean, and don't even get my dad started on the fact that people at home can buy the 50-50 tickets now.
They
He gets very upset about it.
just as a crazy side note, Mark, have you been in the Tampa arena?
I haven't been in Tampa's. I just know that it was the same architect.
I was telling Matt, they have Tesla coils in the arena. They're producing lightning in the arena before games. It's amazing. It's
That's
a
awesome and
crazy,
terrifying all
it's a
at the same
great game to
time.
experience. I mean, the whole
We
thing.
we don't even get Sabretooth
I
From the
know.
coming
rafters
down the
I got
roof
anymore.
Tesla.
anymore.
I got
Yeah,
I
Tesla coils.
I still like the point when the guy being Sabretooth was like, you should get me a four-wheeler. I don't want to do this anymore.
well, if you need combat training,
Yeah.
rappelling down from the rafters of a arena is not something that one does every day,
Oh
unless I
no.
guess you're Sabretooth and what you're doing it inside of a fucking suit that you can hardly
Yeah.
see. That's a great idea.
Do. But like on top of it too, just in that example, like go to a game at Christmas time when that arena is going to be full because people are like, you know what, we're home.
Let's all catch a
Let's
game.
let's let's go catch a game. I took my nephew and my dad for Christmas 2 seasons ago.
Yeah.
It was an awesome experience. They won in overtime, but in general, the arena being full and people having fun, it makes the game day experience that much better. Like,
Winning is
you
fun.
know, winning is a good time.
Winning's a good time.
Well, that's what made that 05-06 season so much fun because
It was
no
unexpected.
nobody expected that team to be good. They were like, "Oh my God, they lost Alec Zitnik and Miro Shatan." I remember going to the home opener against the Islanders in the first game. I think they won like 10-7. And I was like, all right, goaltending wasn't great, but that was awesome. Like,
That team
so
could put the puck in the net.
yeah. And just it's winning changes everything. Like, look at the Bills right now.
Yeah.
I still have season tickets with the Bills, but I remember you couldn't give those seats away, and I have the best seats in the house if you're not in the club level.
hmm
And like now, people are calling me, "Oh, did you sell this game yet? Oh, can I go to this game?" Da da da. Like, and you know, people. That's the other thing. People are claiming, "Oh, I was there the entire drought." Da da da. And you're like, "Yeah, sure, you're a buddy," but you
No.
know, um,
I know which of us was there and which of us wasn't.
yeah. I can remember sitting in some of those rainy games being like, I, because that built in Buffalo has been doing like 68 days or this many days till the season and stuff.
hmm
And they did something, and it was a Fitzpatrick to Donald Jones TD to the Patriots. And like the
Oh,
crowd
I
is
think I
going
remember
crazy.
that.
The crowd's going crazy because we go up 21-10. We lost the game 56-21. It got bad real fast. But like those are the games I remember of the drought. But
I turned on a dime. I'd be remiss if I didn't. There are two things that I wanted to ask you. Now that I've discussed what the lines are and you know the situation with the team, uh, X needs to happen for this team as it's currently made up to make the playoffs.
honestly, kind of like that 05-06 team. You just need some guys who are going to surprise you. Like we've been talking about how talented this pipeline is for how many years.
And we just
Like that.
don't see it.
That's what made that. Oh, people talk. I mean, yes, you had Chris Drury and Daniel Briere, obviously, but at the time, Drury's career was vanishing in Calgary. Briere was traded for Chris Gratton. That can't be good.
Yep.
So but you had a bunch of like guys who played together in Rochester who knew each other's style. That's what made that team good. Like you had the right amount of vets. So you need one or two more veteran guys, and then you need like one or two guys from Rochester to really show something on the third line because that was the special thing about that 05-06 team too is you could roll four lines. You had four lines that could score. Even Gostad and Mayer.
Would
I mean,
pot a goal.
they had to pick who they were putting on as the third guy. I remember like a Finneganoff was on that line one night. I was like, well, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it was better than putting Andrew Peters out there. But like they just do something to recapture this city. Like that should be your main goal. Like enough of the penny pinching, enough of the
And if
fiscally responsible. This is why we were excited when you bought the team. We dealt with fiscally responsible with Thomas B. Galisano. Like,
right, and I'm to the point where I just want him to sell the team if he's going to do that. Continue to do that.
yeah, but I want to make sure they stay because I think it'd be sad if we didn't have hockey in Buffalo.
Yeah, I think it would be
Like,
silly to
and
remove a team from this market, but
oh yeah. Well, I think as I say that before too, with B. Galisano, he saved the team. Like he saved hockey in Buffalo, and I really don't think the financial aspects of the hockey team, I don't think he was really paying attention to those. I think that was one Lawrence Q, if you will.
no,
But at the same time, like you've got a product that people love. Just put something into it.
put some honesty into it.
And I don't understand why Kevin Adams is still here. Like
I
I
don't
wanna
either.
give him the benefit of the
Now,
doubt,
I
but then I
what he
can't.
hasn't earned it.
No.
You have to earn that sort of thing.
But
Dad and I
sometimes
were
when
talking. We Dad and I have been talking about it. I'm
Well,
sorry, you're over there.
what really fried my butt was when he made the comment about the palm trees and
The
the tax
fucking palm
situation.
trees.
I would
that
have,
was a
if I was the owner, I might have
You're
said that
gone.
this is it. You're done because
yeah.
that was,
Don't
maybe it's somewhat true, but you can't
you don't
admit it.
vocalize it.
Yeah, you
Again,
behind closed doors.
not to keep relating everything to Simpsons, but often I think of the line of Bart saying to Chalmers, "Come on, you fired Skinner for less than this," and he goes, "Yeah, but Skinner really bugged me." Like I feel like that's how he feels about Bots and Murray, and I mean that's a whole nother story there. Tim
Yeah,
Murray
yeah.
gave away first round picks like they were delicious candy, like they were sugar babies.
Well, Dan
So
Heyer, he was, he's basically a scout. That's all he is. He's a
Ooh.
glorified scout. I think he got the job because of
yeah,
who
Who
his
his
uncle and
uncle
father
is.
were.
apparently
I've
chain
heard,
smoked like nobody's
and I
business.
don't know I don't know, Mark, if you've heard it or Maddie, if you heard it, but I heard that the bottle of hire that Pagula got pressure from the NHL to hire this guy.
But he was the next guy. The fact that he just turned out to be a dud, like we just
Well,
got
I know he
unlucky
built
because
there. I know.
he was the next guy to get hired in the NHL. Like he
Okay.
was known at like it, in my opinion, it was just in hockey circles like, okay, you've got this guy who's with the Penguins and he's ready for an NHL job. And we needed an NHL GM. And at that time, Housley was coming off of a really hot World Juniors.
The Housley hire, I was 100% behind.
What
I
but
don't
that
I was
know
happened at the same
what
time.
happened.
Those
I
happened in
don't
the
know what
same
happened.
off
I don't
season.
know. I
I
don't
was
know how
ex
he could have screwed it up the way he did. And
I was excited about Ralph Kruger, but that's because that guy was really good. He was the guy at a party who he's talking about stuff and you don't understand what he's saying, but it sounds smart, so you're on board with it.
I'm afraid he might be a cult leader.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Um,
We go
so
to malls on Tuesdays.
yeah. So to answer my own question, the only thing that I think gets this team to the playoffs is if one of those goaltenders is really hot all year.
I would
Like
agree
if
with
one of
that.
these guys steps up, because even if Kulik takes the step, and is a first line center. If you don't have goaltending, it won't fucking matter.
Yeah, that is true.
But if you have goaltending and you catch another break somewhere, or there's a signing out there that we're completely unaware of, or a trade, after Byram has his arbitration hearing,
That whole situation's very confusing
that's
to me too.
very odd. I don't know. It seems like we're rinky dink, and I hate that feeling. So,
Yeah,
you know, Dad, do you have anything
yeah.
else to say about the Sabres?
The
Or do you think we've
Sabres,
beaten them to death
I would
tonight?
just to piggyback what you said about the goaltending. I totally agree with you. You always build a club from the goaltender out, but I think we need to also play much better defense. And but like you said, the goaltender is critical. Also, when you factor in that the goaltender is your best penalty killer, we do need goaltending, and I don't know if that's who we
Well,
have to fit the bill.
it'll make your special teams better, and that's
Well,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah,
areas last year I think they were horrible.
And
yeah,
with they
they were,
they
they
were
were,
they were they to quote Joe Namath, they were struggling.
They were
they were.
struggling. I think we have probably exhausted our time as far as the Sabres are concerned, at least on this episode. Mark, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for
Uh,
having me, guys. It
Thank
was
you,
fun.
Mark.
It's good to
uh,
catch up with both of you.
yeah.
Great seeing you. Yes.
So for Mark and Dad, I am Matt, and we are signing off for this time, and we'll see you next time on Echoes from the Arena.